Other people are likely not to be aware that those who pursue philosophy aright study nothing but dying and being dead. Now, if this is true, it would be absurd to be eager for nothing but this all their lives, and then to be troubled when that came for which they had all along been eagerly practicing.
The love of man to woman is a thing common, and of course, and at first partakes more of instinct and passion than of choice. But true friendship between man and man is infinite and immortal. Courage is a kind of salvation. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Not exact, but the two most important questions are, who will teach the children what they teach them? We must go where the argument carries us, as a vessel runs before the wind. Physical excellence does not, of itself, produce a good mind and character. On the other hand, excellence of mind and character will make the best of the physique it is given. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our ways, I to die, and you to live. Which is better, God only knows. Virtue is the desire of things honorable and the power of attaining them. The only thing he ought to consider, if he does anything, is whether he does right or wrong, whether it is what a good man does or a bad man. Knowledge unqualified is knowledge simply of something learned. Attention to health is life's greatest hindrance. Mankind censure injustice, fearing that they may be the victims of it, and not because they shrink from committing it. The most important thing is not life, but the good life. He who refuses to rule is liable to be ruled by one who is worse than himself. Music and rhythm find their way into the secret places of the soul.
Life must be lived as play, playing certain games, making sacrifices, singing and dancing. And then a man will be able to propitiate the gods and defend himself against his enemies and win in the contest. Laws are partly formed for the sake of good men, in order to instruct them how they may live on friendly terms with one another, and partly for the sake of those who refuse to be instructed, whose spirit cannot be subdued or softened or hindered from plunging into evil.
Virtue does not spring from riches, but riches and all other human blessings, both private and public, from virtue. Love is the joy of the good, the wonder of the wise, the amazement of the gods. There will be no end to the troubles of the state, or indeed of humanity, until philosophers become kings, or until those we now call kings really and truly become philosophers. It is only just that anything that grows up on its own should feel, has nothing to repay for an upbringing which it owes no one.
Beholding beauty with the eye of the mind, he will be enabled to bring forth, not images of beauty, but realities, for he is hold not of an image but of a reality, and bringing forth and nourishing true virtue, to become the friend of God, and be immortal, if mortal man may.
Human nature was originally one, and we were a whole, and the pursuit of the whole is called love. States will never be happy until rulers become philosophers or philosophers become rulers. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil.
Whenever someone, on seeing something, realizes that that which he now sees wants to be like some other reality, but falls short and cannot be like that other since it is inferior, do we agree that one who thinks this must have prior knowledge of that to which he says it is like, but deficiently so?
Socrates. This man, on one hand, believes that he knows something, while not knowing anything. On the other hand, I, equally ignorant, do not believe that I know anything. Love is a great spirit. Everything spiritual is in between God and mortal. A poet, you see, is a light thing, and winged and holy, and cannot compose before he gets inspiration and loses control of his senses, and his reason has deserted him. You take the words in the sense which is most damaging to the argument. Only those who do not seek power are qualified to hold it.
We are twice armed if we fight with faith. For harmony is a symphony, and symphony is an agreement, but an agreement of disagreements. While they disagree, there cannot be. You cannot harmonize that which disagrees. Must not all things at last be swallowed up in death? Anyone who has common sense will remember that the bewilderments of the eyes are of two kinds and arise from two causes, either from coming out of the light or from going into the light, which is true of the mind's eye as much as of the bodily eye. The men of the cave would say of him that up he went and down he came without his eyes. And yet even in reaching for the beautiful there is beauty, and also in suffering whatever it is that one suffers en route. The greatest mistake in the treatment of diseases is that there are physicians for the body and physicians for the soul, although the two cannot be separated. Both wealth and concord decline as possessions become pursued and honored, and virtue perishes with them as well. The wise man will want to be ever with him who is better than himself. Haven't you noticed that opinion without knowledge is always a poor thing? At the best it is blind. Isn't anyone who holds a true opinion without understanding like a blind man on the right road? Let no one destitute of geometry enter my doors. Every king springs from a race of slaves, and every slave had kings among his ancestors. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victory. Men of Athens, I honor and I love you, but I will obey the God rather than you, and as long as I draw breath and able, I shall not cease to practice philosophy, to exhort you, and in my usual way to point out to any one of you whom I happen to meet. For philosophy, Socrates, if pursued in moderation and at the proper age, is an elegant accomplishment, but too much philosophy is the ruin of human life. The worst type of man behaves as badly in his waking life as some men do in their dreams. Wars and revolutions and battles, you see, are simply and solely to the body and its desires. All wars are undertaken for the acquisition of wealth, and the reason why we have to acquire wealth is the body, because we are slaves in its service. According to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a head with 2 faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them in 2 separate beings, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves.